Well, it has been a holiday weekend here in the United States, or holiday week, I should say. That still doesn't mean that crime slows down. We've had a lot going on cases that we've been covering this week. So tonight we're going to do a quick recap on all of them. Also take a look at some headlines, play a little 3 questions. Stick with me. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Well, hello there, my friend. Welcome back to another true crime discussion with me, Gavin Fish. So glad you are here. So glad that you have found this channel. I hope you like it. I hope you stick around. This week we have focused on, well, we've talked about a lot of cases, but 4 of them I'd like to just do a recap on because, 1, they're just cases that are extremely troubling, and 2, they're timely. Now, I do want to tell you I'm having a couple of little technical difficulties tonight. For some reason, I can't bring up your comments on the live chat. Let's see if, yeah, it's just not coming up, and I'm not sure why. So we're going to have to limp along without that. And before we get too far into it, I just want to do a quick little reminder that we have a programming change coming up on Monday. We typically do our live streams at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday here on my channel. Starting Monday, we are moving that forward to 6 p.m. Eastern, so about an hour and a half earlier. Actually, let me just check my math. No, exactly an hour and a half earlier. We still will be going Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. So that's what we're up to. With that out of the way, let's hop into headlines, shall we?
True crime headlines.
Pow! I forgot to turn on the echo. You got to turn that on. Okay. I'm seeing, I wish I could share your comments. Garth B. Nutt saying I'm looking so slim. Well, you're most kind, because yesterday was Thanksgiving and I consumed quite a lot of scrumptious victuals made by my snuggly bear, my sweetie pie, my one and only, and had the old in-laws here. It was actually a pretty small gathering for us here in the Fish household. Only 8 people. Our oldest daughter is married and thinking that she and her husband can just do whatever they want where they live. I think that's pretty inconsiderate. But so it was just Kimberly and I, the 4 younger kiddos, and my mother-in-law and father-in-law, which was terrific. It was a lot of fun. Thank you very much for being so kind. Got people from North Carolina. We got Manitoba, Canada. Tell me where you're from. We got Hot Springs, Arkansas, Daytona Beach. Oh my goodness, North Carolina. Did I already say that one? Another one from North Carolina. So yeah, we've got people from all over the place. Okay, join me if you will over here on Acrobat for a couple of headlines here in True Crime. And remember, if you want me to see a comment on my end, just stick in GF and I will see that on my end. I won't be able to show it on the screen for some reason, but I can. It does help me to see your comments. All right. This brought to us by Crime Cod, which is my true crime news website. Headline reads, Virginia high school coach missing amid, I'm going to call it CSAM investigation. This is written by Kate Bird. Dateline, Appalachia, Virginia. A Virginia high school football coach who disappeared last week is now considered a fugitive, wanted on 10 felony warrants related to CSAM. Travis Turner, a Union High School football coach in Big Stone Gap, Virginia, has been missing since November 20th. Virginia State Police said he disappeared the day agents went to his home during an investigation. State Police have obtained 10 warrants for Turner's arrest, ABC News reported. The warrants include 5 counts of possession of CSAM and 5 counts of using a computer to solicit a minor. Like, the CSAM's bad enough, but it does seem like it is a entryway into solicitation. The VSP confirmed that Turner is now considered a fugitive. You can finish that story over on crimecod.com. Also from CrimeCod, also brought to us by Kate Bird. This one cracked me up. Because there is a guy that I follow on TikTok that is so funny. He just hates food influencers. He just hates food influencers. In fact, I don't really even like that phrase, food influencer. But let's read on. This one tickled me just a little bit. Okay, not that the crime tickled me, but that we've got an arrest here. Luxury lifestyle influencer busted in repeated New York City dine and dash spree. Dateline New York City, a Brooklyn woman who styled herself as a luxury food influencer was arrested multiple times in late 2025 after allegedly skipping out on bills at upscale restaurants across New York City. Pei Chung, there is her photo. Pei Chung, 34, faces several counts of theft of services tied to incidents at high-end eateries, according to the police. According to The Sun, Chung has gained notoriety for ordering lavish meals and refusing to pay. Online, she presents herself as a glamorous lifestyle figure with more than, get this everyone, 13,000 Instagram followers and bringing professional camera gear to restaurants. Authorities said she was arrested at least 7 times between late October, mid-November. Have you guys seen that guy on TikTok? Come with me. Yeah, I love that guy. Anyway, the alleged scams largely took place in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, at establishments including the Michelin-starred Francie, Peter Luger Steakhouse, Motorino Pizza, Lavender Lake, Meadow Suite, and Macy. I no longer have my finger on the pulse of New York eateries, if I ever really did. Come on. But I don't even recognize any of those places, but apparently nice places. This is reminding me of a time. No, Gavin, that would be a tangent. Let's not do that. Okay. At Francie in late October, Chung reportedly ordered foie gras, carpaccio, bucatini, lamb, and hot chocolate mousse, racking up a $188 bill. When her credit cards were declined, she allegedly offered to pay with social media promotion. Oh my goodness. Co-owner John Winterman said she proposed trading pictures and a blog post for a meal. Staff refused, and she was later arrested after returning to the restaurant on November 7th and again refusing to pay an $83 tab. Okay, you can finish that article at CrimeCod. Crime comes in many forms, many shapes, many sizes. This one appears to be about a size 2. And goodness. Okay, now, guys, the next headline. This one just excites the devil out of me. I love this so much. We talked about it over on the Fish Tank. If you guys are always welcome on the Fish Tank. The Fish Tank is where we gather, where we hang out on the Book of Faces and talk about all things true crime. My wife has told me that I need to wear more sweaters. Thus, this and the new photo. Anywho, okay, let's get to it. Gavin, don't get sidetracked. Are we ready? This coming from News 5 Cleveland, but it has been all over the interwebs. Headline reads, former husband of missing Pennsylvania woman allegedly admits to killing her. Guys, after more than 40 years, the former husband of a missing Pennsylvania woman allegedly confessed to her murder, according to Pennsylvania State Police. Do you remember that we had Allison Diker on as a guest about 10 months ago? She has a fascinating and tragic story. It's just, go and watch this one. It's called, just look for Lanine's Law on my channel and watch this if you haven't watched it. Allison Diker is a hero, man. She is the hero of the week. Allison Diker is our hero of the week. Okay. She solved her mother's murder, in my opinion. That's what has happened. Her mom went missing. Her dad, both her mom and her dad were hearing impaired. They all spoke sign language. And after her mom went missing, it was sometime after she was having issues at home. Her dad full on drove her to the sheriff's office, dropped her off, and had her translate for him to the sheriff, "I don't want her anymore. She's your problem," before he skedaddled. She is the hero of the week, okay? She is the Gavin Fish hero of the week. We need a little plaque. But anyway, getting back to the story. Lonnie Rogers disappeared overnight from her family's Hayfield Township, Pennsylvania home after a fight with her separated husband, Clinton Rogers, also known as Bud Rogers, on January 7th, 1981. After years of searching for Lonnie with no results, on Tuesday, Clinton allegedly told police that he killed Lonnie, according to a police report. We're going to get into the police report, but I've not talked with Allison yet. I've wanted to give her a little bit of space, but I can't wait to talk to her. News 5 spoke to Lonnie's daughter, Allison Diker, who told us she finally has some closure. Quote, "It was a moment that I always prayed would come, but never really imagined it would. Never thought that he would ever tell the truth," said Diker. "I can finally have closure, and I'm not wondering, is she out there somewhere? I never believed she was alive, but I wondered what he did to her." Clinton was taken into custody and charged with homicide, the report said. He's currently being held in the Indiana County, Pennsylvania jail without bond. And he had been in there for other purposes. I did grab the PIRR, is what we call these, public information report, from PSB station. Now, I have not gotten the actual complaint yet, but I hope to. This is the report, and they say what the article said. The victim was reported missing to the PSP on January 7th, 1981. The victim's husband, Clinton Rogers, related he and the victim had an argument on the evening of January 6th. Clinton Rogers reported he woke up and discovered Lenny Rogers was not at the residence. Her boots, jeans, and coat were gone. Her purse, hearing aids, glasses, car, and keys were left behind. In addition, her 2 children, ages 1 and 6, also remained at home. That night, there was a severe snowstorm in the area. None of Lenny Rogers' close friends and family have had any contact with her since the day of her disappearance. Family and friends have maintained she would not have willfully left the residence without her children. Numerous searches were conducted for the victim over the years with negative results. In fact, Allison went out with heavy equipment into a spot where she thought her mother might be buried. I'm tripping over my tongue tonight. On 11/26/2025, 2 days ago, Clinton Rogers admitted to killing Lonnie. Clinton was taken into custody, has been charged with criminal homicide and related offenses. Clinton Rogers is currently incarcerated in the Indiana County Jail. So there is the report, and those are our headlines.
True crime headlines.
Yow. Okay. Man, I'm so excited about that. I am just so excited that there is, and I know in our last live stream I talked about there is no justice. There really isn't justice in this world for crimes like these. But as Allison said, maybe there will be a little closure. Let's see what you guys are saying over here. Yeah, Deanna, somebody pointed this out to me. It wasn't Barry Morphew who asked a friend to hide a gun. That was Brad Simpson. Yeah, thank you very much for saying that. And I forgot to announce that. Yeah, I made that mistake as well. Scotch Mom says that food influencer was a glutton for punishment. Hold on. Do we have it? I don't know. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Okay. I was going to give you an applause, a laugh track, whatever. That was pretty great. Um, yeah, 44 years later, says Mooney. Glad she has some closure. Was he already in prison when he confessed? I believe he was. He was in. So in Pennsylvania, we call our jails prisons and we call our prisons SCIs. So he's in the Indiana County Jail on other charges. I do not know if he has said where her body is. That was not in the report, so I don't know. But great question. Great question. I'm so excited. I'm just. That it energizes me when it's not a happy ending. Lonnie is still dead, right? And has been for 40 years. And her everything. Her children didn't get the pleasure of growing up with their mother. And oh my goodness, they just went through so much. Or at least Allison did. But now it seems like we know what happened. And I can't wait to follow it a little bit. If there was a confession, man, that'll be hard to overcome. We shall see if he fights it in court. Okay. That brings us to the cases that we want to go over here a little bit. Okay, let us start here with our recap. Okay, let's start with Ana Kepner. There's just been the family of young Miss Kepner, 18 years old, going to graduate this year. She was a senior in high school, cheerleader. She was a good student, living in Titusville, Florida, goes on a cruise with her dad, her stepmom, her step siblings, and loses her life. And it wasn't accidental, according to what we're hearing all over the place. But the family keeps talking to the media, which is kind of a breath of fresh air, I gotta say. I mean, I don't think I would were I in their position, but I'm grateful that they are. But check this out. Ana Kepner's family seeks answers while Carnival passengers recall chaotic night of teen's death. So not only do we have a family member talking here, but also a passenger. Okay, Friday, today, marks 3 weeks since 18-year-old Ana Kepner of Titusville boarded a cruise ship and never came home. Her family says they're still waiting for answers. What we know. Ana Kepner was found dead earlier this month while on a family cruise aboard the Carnival Horizon with her father, stepmother, and siblings. Her 16-year-old stepbrother has been named a suspect in the case, and federal investigators are treating her death as a homicide according to court filings. Brevard County judge ruled this week that the custody case involving Anna's stepmother and her ex-husband will remain open to the public. That's new for me, meaning Anna's father, Christopher Kepner, may be required to testify. Family members say he previously told them that Ana was rooming with her stepbrother on the ship. The FBI continues to investigate her death, but no arrests have been made. Relatives and passengers who are on the ship say they are struggling with the uncertainty that has followed since the November 7th incident. Here's what her family is saying. For Kepner's relatives, the holiday week underscores the loss. Quote, "It's a turmoil. We're just sitting here waiting," said her aunt Crystal Wright, who described the devastation of losing her niece and the frustration of not knowing what comes next. Yeah, I mean, do you guys hear the beeping outside? We've had quite the snowstorm over the last couple of days. Yeah, but not knowing what comes next, because when you lose a child in this way, it is a long process. What comes next is a lengthy process. Wright said the family learned through unrelated custody documents that Kepner's 16-year-old stepbrother is considered a suspect in the FBI investigation, though no charges have been filed. She's quoted again, "We don't understand why, if the boy is a suspect, why has he not been charged yet? What's happening here?" Of course, you and I know, because we kind of live in this world, right? That they're building a case. They're just building a case. Wright added that she believes her niece tried to fight back. Quote, "I know Anna fought. I know she fought for her life, so it's rough." It's rough, close quote. Travelers who were on the Carnival Horizon the night Kepner died say they too were left with few details. Passenger Tina Altman said an emergency call went out around 11 a.m. directing ship personnel to the 8th floor, where cabin security later blocked off the area where Kepner was found. The ship docked in Miami the next day. There's still a lot of unknowns. This is Altman quoting again, and I don't think we will know everything for a very long time, Altman said. As a frequent cruiser and mother, she said the tragedy hit her hard. I can't imagine it. I have a 21-year-old daughter and a 19-year-old son, and my heart breaks for the entire family. And she said exactly what all of us are thinking. FBI is not named a suspect. FBI has not arrested anyone. The medical examiner's office has not released or confirmed details about how she died. So that is Ana Kepner. Let's see if you guys are saying anything on Ana. Well, Real Happy saying, I'm looking spiffy tonight. Kimberly said, I need to wear more sweaters. I'm not really a layering guy. But I will tell you this, and this is a tangent. This is totally a tangent. Okay. Basically, Kimberly and I got married, and from that moment on, I didn't want to do anything else but be home. And my wife is a physically active, physically fit person, and I just never wanted to be anything but home. Now, in my youth, I was a fashionable kid. I tried anyway. I definitely spent a lot of time at Sunrise Mall and the Roseville Galleria as a kid. What was the one in Sacramento? Oh, it was a nice mall. Is Arden Fair Mall? Spent a lot of time at Arden Fair Mall. Lots of time at Sunrise Mall, which is where I worked. And anyway, I had lots of cool clothes. But as fit skinny Gavin became fat dad Gavin, I just wasn't all that interested in looking good because I never looked good. So it has been nice. It has been nice to slim down a little bit, certainly on the overweight side still, but it has felt good and it feels good to dress well. Also, guys, my wedding band fits. My wedding band fits again. It's kind of awesome to wear the old one because I've had other rings that I get and wear, but it's fun to wear the original wedding band. It's like, so anyway, Tiff says ladies love men in sweaters. Yeah, that's a thing. In my youth, shush your mouth. That's funny. Okay. Tiff says, if you can't look good, then you better smell good. Oh, yeah. So we have a nephew that he's now 18 or 19 years old. But when he was a little kid, he would get into his dad's cologne and he would put it on and he would call it, he called it his handsome. He was putting his handsome on. So yes, I've been putting on handsome too. It's pretty good. Anyway, okay, what is our next case that we want to talk about? I believe we're going to circle back to the case of Celeste Rivas. There are a couple of articles that have come out recently that I want to share with you some of the details. Let's go back over to Acrobat. This from the Daily Mail. Private investigator challenges Celeste Rivas' autopsy bombshell and reveals what he found inside David's freezer. So we know about the case. Celeste was a 14-year-old girl who apparently had a relationship with 20-year-old David Burke, TikTok phenom, singer, and rising star, age 20. And she was kind of a serial runaway. Her body was found in September in his Tesla, in the trunk of his Tesla. Her body was in pieces and decomposing. And there have been lots of different different reports from different sources, named and unnamed, about that. We won't get into that. But anyway, I want to scroll down. So we know that she ran away. She vanished from Lake Elsinore. We heard the anonymous law enforcement resources saying that she was partially frozen still. And then I want to get here. Okay. Steve Fisher, a private investigator hired by the singer's landlord to independently review the case, told the Daily Mail he found no evidence to support such a claim. Quote, the freezer still had its shelves installed along with food and beverage items that had clearly been in there for months, said Fisher. Continuing the quote, I also tested key areas of interest in and around the home with luminol and blue star to look for blood evidence and did not get any positive results. Fisher added that he uncovered no evidence to suggest a violent crime had taken place at the rental home, though he previously said he found a series of strange items that could be used to dispose of a body. And then, of course, the LAPD Captain Scott Williams, who spoke after TMZ reported about the frozen body, said it was not frozen. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, we know that the medical examiner's office can't release anything. There was a court order holding that. I think Burke had been staying at the $4.1 million home in the Hollywood Hills. The home was raided by LAPD on September 17th. Yeah, okay, Okay, so that's everything out of that article that I want to share with you. And then this one from yesterday, also the Daily Mail. We talked about this already, but since this is a recap, I just wanted to bring it up again. A grand jury has been presented with evidence connected to the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, the teenage girl whose body was found in singer David's Tesla. According to the LA Times, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office seated an investigative grand jury in mid-November. The in-camera or secret proceedings of a grand jury are designed to protect the integrity of an investigation and the identity of witnesses called to share testimony. Meanwhile, a court petition also obtained, we know that, so the medical examiner's office cannot reveal anything. A new report claims that a grand jury has begun hearing evidence connected to the death of Rivas Hernandez. A law enforcement told the Times that several witnesses have been called in front of the grand jury by Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman. In a statement, the district attorney's office told the LA Times that they could not disclose any information about grand jury proceedings, of course. So, yeah, we got the grand jury going on. We got Steve Fisher saying nay to the freezy thing that he tested with luminol and blue star, found no evidence that a violent crime took place there. So those are the updates on Celeste Rivas Hernandez's case that I wanted to bring to you. Just want to check in with you guys, see what you're talking about over here. Yeah, it is cute putting his handsome on. Yeah. And Heather saying the frozen part makes no sense. Yeah, these predators know who to target, says Content Angel. The kids with parents that can't control their kids or run away. Yeah, I just can't imagine what her family is going through right now. Just terrible. The PI Mooney was not hired by David, but hired by his landlord who owned the house. Remember, that house was being rented or leased for him by his manager or by his label or something like that. And it was the landlord after the raid that hired Steve Fisher to go in and investigate what happened in the house. So, great question. Okay, the next case that I want to get into a little bit, just as a recap, is the Ana Walshe case. Okay, and of course, the reason being, on Monday morning, we are to hear opening arguments in the trial against her husband, Brian Walshe. So, this from Boston 25, on the eve of Brian Walsh's case, challenges ahead for both sides, it says. Dateline Dedham, Mass. On Monday, all eyes will be on the Norfolk County Superior Court in Dedham for the murder trial of Brian Walshe. He's charged with killing his missing wife, Ana Walshe, over New Year's 2023. Ana disappeared from the couple's Cohasset home after a small New Year's Eve party. Brian Walshe initially told police his wife abruptly left Cohasset to handle a work emergency in Washington, D.C. He has now admitted that was a lie and a shocking legal twist last week. Walshe pleaded guilty to 2 counts against him, lying to police and for illegally disposing of Ana's body. He's now on trial for a single charge of murder. Investigators have amassed a mountain of evidence against Brian Walshe, most notably a series of internet searches on a child's iPad about how to dispose of a body. They also have surveillance images of Walshe buying cleaning materials at local hardware stores and dumping heavy trash bags at area dumpsters. Boston criminal defense attorney Elise Hershon believes prosecutors will need more if they're going to prove that Brian Walshe murdered his wife. Quote, "If a jury doesn't know how she died, that's not a conviction. They cannot convict on that," Hershon said. Attorney Hershon explains that prosecutors are challenged by the fact that Ana Walshe has never been found. And even though Walshe has admitted to illegally disposing that let me read that again. Even though Walshe has admitted he illegally disposed of Ana's body, there are no witnesses to Ana's death, making it hard to prove a murder charge. Again, from Hershon, quote, "He could have had nothing to do with how she died, or could have even been self-defense, or it could have been some type of manslaughter. So there are a lot of options still open, which is the definition of reasonable doubt. If you think he caused her death, but you don't know how, that's an acquittal." I disagree with attorney Hershon. I disagree. In order to prove that a murder happened, well, okay, now I'm quibbling with myself. The first part of proving homicide is that Ana Walshe is indeed dead. And Brian Walshe gave the prosecution that, gave it to him, said, yeah, I disposed of her body. But is it reasonable? I mean, were there other people in the house? I'm looking forward to seeing the so-called mountain of evidence. I believe that he is guilty of killing Ana. I believe that, but will a jury? You just never know what a jury will do. You just never know. And it's actually kind of infuriating too. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So that is where we are with Ana. So on Monday morning, we will start to get our opening statements. We will hear opening statements. Last case I want to bring you up to date on, just as a recap, is the case of Caitlyn Tracy, who fell, I think, 24 stories to her death in a Chicago high-rise. And for some reason, there is in this high-rise a way in which a person can fall 24 stories. I just still don't get that in modern buildings. How they're not built with walls so as the stairs go down around walls so that you can't go over the edge and fall all the way down. I don't get how that is still a thing in this day and age. I just don't get it. But as a recap, Adam Beckerink, seen here in his mugshot, he pleaded guilty to a contempt of court charge in Michigan this week. Let's see. Beckerink pleaded guilty to a contempt of court charge, first reported on last month after an incident at a Concentra urgent care clinic in Chicago's Westtown neighborhood. CPD officers were called to the clinic on West Chicago Avenue after Beckerink was there for court-ordered drug testing and showed clear signs of intoxication. Judge Bruce asked him if he violated the conditions of his bond when he was intoxicated at the urgent care center in Chicago. Beckerink answered yes. So, also discussed at the hearing Beckerink's extradition to Cook County on a Chicago police warrant for the murder of Tracy. She was found dead in October of last year at the bottom of the stairwell in his high-rise condo in the South Loop with her foot severed and her body pulverized. The court is still waiting for paperwork from Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, who is legally required to sign a warrant and send it to Michigan's governor to extradite Beckerink. The state is still waiting for paperwork from Cook County. If he waives extradition, the signed warrant from Pritzker is not necessary. I thought that he did waive extradition, but I guess, was that a different case? That was a different case we were looking at. So we shall see what happens there. Now, so let's remember Caitlyn Tracy, who just died a horrible death. My goodness sake. Just checking your comments here real quick. Yeah, like Fotis Doulos, Tiff, yep. I think the evidence is pretty clear in this case. Ohio Palm Mom is saying, how old is the building? I don't know how old the building is, but that just seems like something that needs to be retrofitted. If it's an old building, there should be a retrofit. The ability for somebody to fall 24 stories. That is, I mean, I do think that there's probably some civil liability on the part of the building ownership. I do. And I'm not a litigious person. I don't believe in filing lawsuits for the sake of filing lawsuits, but my 24 stories? Yeah. Heather Sparrow saying Brian Walshe is done even with former Trooper Proctor as the lead. I agree. Okay. So that is our recap, guys. We've got a few more minutes. So why don't we get into 3 questions? Push the right button.
3 questions with Gavin Fish.
Okay. 3 questions with Gavin Fish. This is what we do. For those of you who are new here, you are allowed to ask me any question. Any question. Nothing is off limits. It can be wildly inappropriate, and I will answer the question. Now, I've noticed, probably because of the Thanksgiving holiday, that there are few questions coming in. Fewer questions. So if you want questions answered, just email me 3questions@gavinfish.com. It's spelled out THREE, questions@gavinfish.com. And we will get into it. Here we go. First question. Push the right button here. What's your nickname for people who've known you your whole life? What is it that people who have known me my whole life call me? That's the question. What's your nickname for people who've known you your whole life? Yeah. Well, I don't have really a nickname. My dad has a nickname for me, which I won't reveal here. It's only one that he's allowed to call me. My mom usually calls me son, or she likes darlin'. She likes to say darlin'. She calls me darlin' a lot. There's no G on that. It's not darling. It's darlin'. Kimberly calls me Gavin, and I call her Kimberly, but I also call her my sweetie pie, my snuggly bear, my one and only. Sometimes I call her Smeagol because she is my precious, but I don't think I have a nickname. Now, there's some people who call me Gav, and coming from people who have known me since childhood, I'm totally cool with that, but I prefer not to hear it. Let's see, my mom calls me Gav every once in a while too, but I prefer to be called Gavin, and it's just, I don't know why. There are, let's see, high school buddies will call me Fish every once in a while. My last name was funny enough that they could just say my last name, and that's it. That's it. And Lisa Cox is saying, I like Gav. I hate Gav. I like Gav for other people. And I like Gav from certain people. Like my buddy Nate, who we've known since we were 8 years old, he calls me Gav. My buddy Julene, since that I've known since maybe we were 10 years old. She calls me Gav. I think that's about it. So yeah, kind of boring answer, but I really don't have a nickname. Maybe I should come up with one. Maybe we need to come up with one. Oh, actually, you know what? Content Angel just brought up Gavinator. So I did have coworkers that called me Gavinator, and now that I think about it, like Sherilyn Dale calls me G Money. I get that so often. I get G Money so often, and I have no idea why. But that's yeah, I do get that. These days it's mostly from Sherilyn, but I've had that in the past as well. Tiff says Gavin is a British name, isn't it? It's definitely of English origin. My Gavin is actually my middle name. I'm one of those guys that has a first initial. It's meanness in my. I mean, my parents are just mean for doing that to one of their children. But the reason is they wanted to name me after my dad, but they didn't want to call me after my dad. They didn't want to call me Junior or anything like that. So they named me after my father, gave me my middle name as Gavin, and then called me Gavin from moment one. And I asked why you didn't just put, my name is John Gavin Fish, and it's spelled Jon. I'm just named after my dad. So John Gavin. I said, well, why didn't you name me Gavin John? They're like, no, well, John Gavin, my mom says it just sounds more musical when you say John Gavin as opposed to Gavin John. I think it has to do with the actor John Gavin. Also, my mom has never admitted to this, but I think she had something for Captain Steubing, Gavin McLeod. So, yeah, Gavin is nowhere. I don't have any ancestors that I know of that are, it's not a family name. It's just a name that my parents loved. But I am named after my father, and I do love that. I think that's wonderful. Yeah, I don't look like a John. Tiff says half of my family goes by their middle name. Well, our society is not built for people to go by their middle names. It's like I had my 7th grade math teacher called me John the entire year, and it did not matter how many times I corrected her. My name is not John, or how many times I just refused to respond. If it was on her paper, it's John. And we get calls, telemarketers and stuff like that. Hi, John. I'd like to talk to you about, that's how I know you don't know me. So, yeah, I think what should happen is throughout our society, there should be, like on our birth certificates, on what are our marriage licenses, on all that stuff, there should be first name, middle name or middle names, and preferred name. Something like that. DDWM says, Gavin, we did it to our son. He's named after his dad, and we called him by his middle name. It suits him so well. Well, good. And you know what? One of our son's friends, when they were like 12 years old, his middle name is his father's first name, and he went by his first name, and he just announced to everybody, nope, I'm going by my middle name now. He liked his middle name. So he did it to himself on purpose. I wonder how that is going for him. So yeah, I guess that's the answer to the nickname question. Jules and me does not have a middle name. Yeah, my wife did not have a middle name until we got married, and what she decided to do is make her maiden name her middle name. She's now Kimberly Compton Fish. So interesting what we do with our names. Okie dokie. Is this our last question? No, this is our second to last. Okay. Just tell us a favorite memory. You guys are just goading me into talking about old memories, I guess. I am a nostalgic creature. You think. An old memory. That's just so out of left field. Give me a second. Think about this. Just an old memory that I can share with you. Nothing's coming. I got to have a better prompt than that. I'm sorry. I mean, I appreciate that you're asking me to share a memory because I guess I am a person with 1,000 stories that I tell over and over and over again. But nothing's coming to mind. Let's think about this for the Christmas season or the Thanksgiving season. On the spot, I got nothing for you. I am so sorry. Got to be better on those questions. Okay, I trying. Think if there's no, I can't think of one. Okay. Final question. If you got the chance to interview Stefan Stearns, what would you ask him? What would I ask Stefan Stearns? I am not even remotely interested in anything that man has to say. So if I got a chance to interview Stefan Stearns, I mean, the most obvious question that like the reporter in me would want to ask is probably why, but I have no interest in why. I would ask that in order to put it into a story, but I just don't care what I want to just forget that man. Just he's gone. He's out of sight, out of mind. Let him spend the rest of his unnatural life in prison, and that's it. That's what I think. That's all I got. And I think that's the end, guys. That is the end of 3 questions.
It's 3 questions with Gavin Fish.
Hey, before we decide to take off, I just want to remind you about this video, the Lanine's Law that Allison Diker is fighting for. Check out this video. When was it? It was back in January 7th of 2025 is when we did this video. Look at me with my short hair and my long beard, my long bird. That shacket, I'm wearing that shacket a lot these days. Anyway, Allison is the hero of the week, man. She's our hero of the week. She is amazing. I've paused it on a weird face thing. I'll just let it play so you can see what she is just amazing. And I'm so happy for her that there is at least a little bit of closure on her mother's case. So that's pretty awesome. Remember that you can always reach out to me on gavinfish.com. There's always a link to that in the description below. If you click on the little envelope icon, that will get it, that will open up a little form where you can send me a message. Speaking of envelopes, you know what we're doing this week? We're going to be starting to send out Christmas cards. We're not very good at sending out Christmas cards, but this year, because of my post-midlife crisis and my nostalgic pit of despair, I just have this feeling that I need to be a better friend. So we're sending out the Christmas cards, which is kind of awesome. Also, hey, click on this little fishy icon up in the upper right. That will take you over to the fish tank where we hang out on Facebook. Where are we at now? We're at 5,799 members of the fish tank. We are so close to 5,800 members. If you're on Facebook and joining groups and true crime's your thing, that's a good place to do it. I also post things every once in a while about, my personal life, my personal journey. Like right now I'm spending a lot of time in the gym. And so I have the occasional picture of that. Yeah, join us there. Remember that on Monday, we begin this here live stream nary at 7:30 p.m., but at 6 p.m. Eastern time, an hour and a half earlier, hopefully to make it better for you guys and also make it so you can watch the other channels that you like to watch without having to choose between us. With that, as my hair, I tried to put it in a ponytail tonight, but it's falling out. I shall bid you adieu. Thank you very much for being here. I'll see you on Monday, 6 o'clock Eastern. And until then, take care of yourselves. Good night. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.